Pause. Hey, everybody, how are you? Joe Kennemore here today, and I have a subject matter expert with me, and I couldn't be more excited because I love designers, and specifically, yes, web developer designers. Mark is here with us today. He's going to share his expertise, but before I get to Mark, yes, today I'm going to give you an opportunity to buy a ticket to this event for $99. The tickets are $349 retail. $99 today. I'm going to give you a code towards the end of this. And by the way, we're not going to take any longer than 15 minutes. And you're going to be mesmerized in that 15 more minutes by Mark and maybe myself. I don't know. I'm far more witty than I am intelligent. So we'll see how this goes. Anyway, today, Mark, he's with me today. He develops and designs websites and quite a few other things. But we've seen his work. I've seen his work. If you haven't seen his work, you need to get to startedupsmart.com right now and buy a ticket, and you'll see his work, how it fully functions, and you can buy a ticket and everything works. It's amazing. So anyway, Mark, how are you today? What's going on over there in the world of web design?
Hey, all lights are green. We're doing good. We're doing great.
Awesome. Probably just waiting for some content from a customer would be my guess.
How'd you know?
Folks, audience out there, that's a running joke for all web designers. That's all they do. They sit around and wait for content from their customers, or they just go create it and just do it, right? Because something's got to give eventually. That's just the way it goes. Anyway, really, really good stuff. Well, you know, Mark, why don't we just get started in this thing? Let's talk about, you know, I asked you some really brilliant questions right up the front. I don't even think we'll go to that. You know, what's the difference between a funnel and a website today? But let's talk about, you know, a website and what are best practices for creating a website and engaging somebody like yourself.
Okay. So especially from the perspective of an owner or a C-level exec who wants to work with someone who's putting together a website, you probably don't want to know how the sausage is made. You just want to know the things that you want to know because you're a busy person. And so there are some things that you probably could offer the web designer to make their job easier and to make your result better. So first of all, ask yourself why it is exactly you want a website. I mean, you could want a website because you might want to do some branding. You might want to educate your audience. You could use it as a portfolio piece, especially if you're a small business and maybe you're a home services business and you want to show before and afters. You can use it to collect leads, of course, or you can use it, as a lot of people will, in order to generate sales. Other things that you're going to want to do is consider the type of information you're going to want to give to your web developer / designer. And these are things like you're going to want to make sure that they know what your messaging is. And you're going to want to make sure you know what your messaging is too, because you might think your messaging is one thing, but if you fully start to learn about your audience, you might discover that your audience has different desires. And make sure that your messaging is consistent with what their needs are. And then come back and make sure that everything that you produce is consistent and in line with that. So those are just
makes a lot of sense. Now, Mark, there are some folks like myself who may not want to even deal with any of that. Would you do that for them?
I'd still have to work with them to create the branding and the messaging, because people may come to you and tell you that they would do that for you, and they can do some competitive research. But the bottom line is, you know your customer better than anybody. And the best, I'm glad you asked that, because in my 40 years of experience, I can tell you that my best results I've ever gotten is when I work with sales teams. And I know that's really counter to what you hear from designers. They are often in competition, marketing departments, with the sales force. But marketing tools are nothing more than that, a tool for the sales force to get the results that they're looking for. And so just like a hammer or any other power tool, that marketing team, that sales team, can use the marketing team effectively to create the tools they need to get the results they want.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Sales teams should be involved because they're typically the ones who are actually talking to the customers, not the marketing departments that are doing it. That's for sure. Now, the marketing department does come up with, you know, a headline and a hook and the copy and all these other wonderful things to make this work. But sometimes, you know, the customers that we work a lot with are smaller businesses. They aren't Fortune 500s that have a whole department or two or three, right? So, yeah I think Super, super good advice, Mark. Super good advice. And I do believe that you're absolutely 100% accurate. The best sites I've seen built were built with the actual engaged customer doing the legwork. They knew their customers, or they went and did the research. They sent the copy. They wrote the copy themselves. They found what they wanted. That meant something to their customers. So when they saw it, there was engagement. And we always want engagement, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, customer engagement is the deal. Conversion's really the deal, but we got to start somewhere, which is engaging. So what do you, any thoughts on, an engaging website? What can we share with this audience about what could be engaging on a website?
So what we just talked about is really important to create the foundation to determine what's engaging, because the number one question that we all ask when we come to a website is this what I'm looking for? And as soon as we decide the answer is no, we're off to the next one just like that. We won't stay. And so the answer has to be yes. And so that's why it's very, very important for you to understand your customer. And so to do that, that sounds like a very easy thing to do. But what you should probably do, well, not probably, this is what you should do. You should review your list of customers and decide who are your favorite customers that you have right now. And then ask yourself, what would they want to have? What can I do to help them more? What messaging can I do to attract more customers like that? And so talk to that person individually. A lot of people will shotgun and talk to a quote unquote target market. And in doing so, talking to everybody means you're talking to nobody, right? And so in this case, oftentimes you'll hear, especially these days, modern marketers talk about what's called an avatar. And you take that ideal customer, your ideal customer that you currently have, and you turn that into an individual person, and you give that person a name. And everything that you do in terms of marketing is written and driven to be productive with that person. Ask yourself, how did you find that prospect? How did that prospect find you? Was a website integral to the process? Where did it fall in the process? Make sure that you understand every step of the way so that when you create or replicate that process, you're attracting more clients just like your favorite customer.
Yeah. I love a lot of what you just said, and it kind of brings me to the niching down, right? Get into a niche. When you're speaking to everybody, you're speaking to no one. I've said that a million times, and you just said it for me, and I appreciate it because people do not understand that. If you have a business, folks, and you can get into a niche and really understand that specific customer, it's so much easier to reach them. It's so much easier to talk to them. It's so much easier to create a graphic, a website, a social ad. It's just easy. And that's what Mark was just saying is like, listen, niche down, find your customer. Who are they?
Right.
What attracted them? Find out everything you can about them. And then it's time to engage Mark, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely great stuff. Any other advice you'd have for somebody who's maybe, let's move on to somebody who already has a website but wants a facelift? What recommendations would you give those folks today?
Well, sometimes sites do become dated, and the designs start to not be as appealing to their audience anymore. For decades now, we've gone with what is called the striped layout, where you have one section as a dark section and then a light section and then a dark section as you go down. Well, visually, that creates blockages as you move from one section to the next. And so rather than flow from one section to the next, you hit an abrupt, hard edge, and it kind of breaks the flow. And if you want people to be able to move from one section to the next, only use those types of blockages or those types of separations, those dividers, for when the content is truly different. So if you have a section of services, don't create sections that each one of those services has a different block. Treat them all within the same color or the same lightness so that those read together. Those are just some of the basic things, but there's also things like things that people don't even think about. Should I look for photos or shoot photos that are horizontal or vertical? Well, here's an example, and it's very popular that people, especially these days, will shoot with their camera straight up and down as a portrait. Well, the problem with that, it's very difficult to add image to the side. But if you shoot horizontally, it's very easy to crop to the middle. So then I can either take a square out of that or a portrait shot right out of that image, but I can't add to the sides if you give me a vertical. In addition, if you put a vertical on a phone, and you go full width with it, full width is really tall on a phone, and you have to scroll a long way to just get past that image. So it does help to know some of the fundamental things that aren't just aesthetics. There are some really functional things to consider when you're looking at the design of your website.
Yeah. Boy, Mark, I love you, man. That's just perfect stuff right there. He's talking about design. He's talking about keeping everything in a container and not screwing up with the minds and the eyes of people. And, we're all wired the same way. We're all wired when we look at something, we're looking for a pattern. We're looking at these things and looking for certain pieces of information. And, like he was saying a couple minutes ago, some people show up to your site and they end up doing what's called bouncing, because they didn't find what
That's
they
right.
were looking for. They clicked on a link that Google said was going to get them there. And now that bounce rate goes high and Google stops showing you because, the information is not right. But what I really like is design and having everything in a container where somebody looks at it, it's easily read by them, easily seen by them. They don't have to decipher anything. It's pretty
Yeah.
damn simple. So, all right. Well, any last words of advice, Mark, that you want to give somebody who's, wanting to build a website, refresh their website? Maybe there's something about technology you want to share with them. I'm definitely interested in hearing everything you have to say today.
I would say get out to the event. There are a lot of people there that I know personally, and they've been in their respective businesses for a very long time, and they've been able to succeed in their businesses because they know what they're doing. And so I think they have a lot to share, and I think that people have a lot to benefit from and learn from. So we're here to help. We're here for you. This is more of a help people learn what they need to know and make things better and a better experience and more effective for them. That's really the goal of, I think, every speaker presenter that's going to be at this conference.
Absolutely correct. Everybody out there, we're here to serve. Mark's here to serve you. Show up, come to the event, corner him, ask him the questions you want. I may be doing the same thing, so you may have to butt me out of the way, but I'll be happy to get out of your way. Anyway, Mark, I really appreciate you today. You really are a true professional and designer and web developer. I've seen your work. It's beautiful stuff. Folks, I couldn't recommend Mark any higher. Please check him out. Go to his website, find him, reach out to him if you've got a need. Right now, though, I promised I was going to share with you how you get a ticket for $99. So here we go, folks. So for $99, you will need to go to the Started Up Smart website, and there's going to be a coupon code that's going to ask for. And as you can see, the coupon code is running across the bottom of the screen. It's Utah 2024. The current ticket price, as you scroll down this page, you will see there it is. $349 is the current ticket price retail today. If you put right here in this coupon code, Utah 2024, you'll get that ticket price for just $99. Folks, food is included. I don't know where you're going to go for $99 for a full-blown education on your business and every aspect of your business for $99, and you're getting lunch with it. Like, really? Where else can you go and get that? You can't. That's why I'm here sharing this with you. And there are only 320 seats. This is not thousands or tens of thousands. And folks, I've done all those events too. I love a more intimate environment where you can corner Mark at lunch and go, hey, Mark, I've got this thing. Can you help me? And we're going to hear from people just like Mark in their expertises, and we're all here to serve you. So jump on over there, buy that ticket, and then send me a message. Let me know you bought that ticket. I want to chat with you. Anyway, thank you, Mark. I appreciate you. I love everybody out there in that audience. Looking forward to seeing you soon. And peace out, folks.